I'm hitting go live. I think we're gonna be there. Let's see what happens. If somebody wants to hop on the channel. We could wait for a minute anyway to see if anybody
What was
hops.
that?
It was that video. I hit play on accident. I love that sound, by the way. Whoever doesn't use their computer.
That was me. It's live. We're live.
I love that sound, by the way. Whoever doesn't use their
yeah,
computer. We are live.
That was me. Let me mute this. It's live. We're live.
I love that sound, by the way. Whoever can mute it or else we are live.
That was me. Let me mute this.
Who am I hearing? Did you mute it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm like, dude, it's like that delay.
See, we've done this before.
Hey,
we're live now.
We're live.
We are live.
Welcome.
All right, look at all the masses watching.
Joe, tune us all in. Welcome all of our listeners.
So glad. Thank you for your support. There's 3 watching now.
This was a great idea, Joe.
You're a jerk.
We love you. Thank you for being here.
That's why this works. Because you're a jerk.
You know, you know what? I mean, you don't know what's going to succeed unless you experiment. So this is a good experiment.
In 5, 4, 3.
Joe, you're supposed
that was your cue.
For me?
Hello, everyone.
We're going. All right. With the 2 that are watching, and I think the 2 are us on our other screen. That's me on one of my phones and you on your other phone over there. Should we try? Okay.
Here, let me get on my phone. That way we can have 3.
Are you ready?
Yeah, dude, go ahead.
All right.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. It is Kings of Monaco, episode 18. We're going to have some fun today. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great, man.
We're live for the first time, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Definitely an experiment, something that we haven't done before, but we're just going to do what we always do: have fun, talk to one another. We're lifelong friends. Those of you who are out there, if you happen to jump on a little bit later and you want to hop in the chat, please do so. Shout us out a little bit, or if you're watching the replay, make sure you comment below. And I think my dog just farted for real. Like Aspen is in here and it all of a sudden stinks, dude. All right, but hey, let's go over some of the topics that we got for tonight.
Dude, you've been blaming other beings for your farts your whole life. I don't believe it was your dog.
Hey,
I'm also going live on my TikTok too, so that way you guys know. Just throwing it out there.
For the other 4 people on TikTok.
For the 4 live people watching on my TikTok. Thank you.
By the way, the little stars in the background, I got voted out. I don't like them, but these guys do. All right. Anyway, what are our topics, Bo? You got us. You got us. All right. We have got Broncos and around the NFL. We always have a lot to say about the NFL and especially our Broncos. Hurricanes. Vince is probably the closest to all the happenings there in Florida, and it's been pretty crazy. But we'll talk about that. We also have, all of us have, and you probably do too if you're watching, some kind of bucket list thing that you still want to do. And so we're either going to share one of the bucket list things that we were fortunate enough to already have done, and or some bucket list things that we have yet to do and we really want to do in our lives. And then retro engineering our lives, or your lives. Like if you could go back knowing what you know now and maybe change something, be somebody different even, maybe make a few different decisions, choices. What would that look like? What would it be? And then top 5 entertainers. We're going to see, we're going to dialogue about who we love that are entertainers. And then we have a scary video. We might throw that in just anywhere, by the way. We might throw that in randomly at any time. But guys, so good to be here, be live with you. And let's do it.
Yeah, man.
And the topics are not in order. We go whatever order we want to go in. It's not necessarily we keep an order type of thing either.
That's the way Kings roll, right?
I don't even remember. It's been so long since we've been on. Was it the 4 of us the last time, or was it 3 of us?
It was all 4.
I think it was the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
It was the 4 of us. Yeah, y'all were gonna do 3 while I was on vacation, but you didn't know how. So, or something happened. I
Oh
forgot.
wait, no, I think we did do 3 without you, didn't we?
No,
No,
that was
'cause-
previous.
yeah.
Last time we were on, we it was all 4 of us the last time.
Right. Hey, Evie is on from Puerto Rico.
Oh, hey,
Woo!
Evie, hey, how's it going?
feel free to go in the chat. Yeah, there we go.
In the house. All right, babe. Miss you. So let's talk about some Broncos, man. That's easy to talk about. That's how we doing. I mean, we seem to make a turn in the season, seem to be figuring some things out, and maybe some luck is involved. But where are you guys at with all that?
I'm really curious going out throughout the season, which Broncos are we going to see consistently? Because I feel like we have 2 different teams right now. And it's so hard to say, right? Because we have the team. I went to that Buccaneers game, which was amazing. That was an
Yeah.
amazing game.
That would have been an awesome game to be at.
Yeah, and then you had the Raiders, which they took care of business like they should have.
About time.
And then and then the Jets, they kind of it was like a up and down game for them. Bo couldn't grip the ball. I don't know if his hands are too small or if I don't know what it is. But
Weird.
yeah, but also when you get to that Chargers game, it's like they were lifeless, right? Did you go to the game, Joe? I don't know.
No, he didn't go.
But so my sister and my brother-in-law Sean went, and they were pretty close to the sideline. They're like, well, this team looked like it was disinterested in the game, and they just didn't have any life to them. But then you go to the Saints game, and it's like, okay, that's the team that but coming up, we should have an easy game. Is it going to be one of those trap games where we're going to play the Carolina Panthers and get our butts kicked by somebody we should be kicking their butts? Because after that, we have Baltimore and Kansas City, and those teams are no joke.
Let me just butt in here. As it pertains to this next game, the Panthers, keep in mind this is the NFL, and I am a firm believer that every athlete on every team is like an elite athlete, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the league.
I agree.
They get paid millions of dollars to go out there and win. They're incentivized to win. So I think that I truly believe, like any given Sunday, any team can rise up and kick butt, right? We've seen 1 and 6 teams beat undefeated teams before in years past, and it really just depends on who wants it more that day. So I'm not going to go as far as to say that it's going to be an easy game. I think that the odds will probably place the Broncos in a position to win. But to your point, Vince, I think they need to show up. One cool thing that I've seen this season, though, that's been a lot of fun to watch is the identity that the team is getting as a defensive powerhouse, right? So they're top 5 defense across the board. I want to say top 2 or 3 in pass defense, top 2 or 3 in run defense, which is awesome. Special teams is kicking butt. So I do think that, if they show up, they should win. But I'm going to put an apostrophe there and say that, if they don't show up like they played against the Chargers, honestly, I feel like we should have won that game. Truly. I think the Chargers came here to play. They knew that Denver had some momentum. They knew that they really had to come in and make a statement because we're division rivals. They really showed up, right? We didn't. And that's our bad. I feel like we definitely lost that game that we should have won. But hopefully, being that we're playing someone who's not in our division, hopefully we'll have an easier path to a dub this time around. But we'll see.
I think it's pretty easy to say who's going to show up and how we're performing and all that. But I think what we fail or forget to think about is kind of getting in their minds. Like, this is a relatively young team, new team. They're tweaking with every game to get better, and it's certainly working. But if you've ever had to learn something new and then stand in front of a group and perform that new thing, or Carlos, you do speeches a lot, you do a lot of presentations. Sometimes you're in your head processing, am I doing this right? Did I remember the play? And I'm still getting used to everybody around me, you know, in a lot of cases. So to Carlos's point, I like what you're saying, that, yeah, they're all professionals, but at the same time, they're tweaking as they go. And I know for me, like speaking from, I would just say teaching a cycling class, I have a new playlist, I put it all together, my notes are there, but I'm in my head a little bit the first 1 or 2 times that I present it, because I'm following the notes, making sure that I get it right. And I may not be as present that with the people that I need to be, because I'm making sure that I'm doing it right. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think that has a lot to do with that feeling of potentially them not looking like they're there or showing up, or kind of in their head, or not enthusiastic about the game. That's me. Because I can't imagine a whole team or an entire line, defensive line or whatever, not being excited about being in an NFL game, you know? So that's just my thoughts on it. And I think they're getting better.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of sense, particularly around the fact that this is a really young team, right? And the fact that they probably haven't had as many high pressure situations in the NFL as other teams have. And so certainly that can weigh into the level of confidence that you play at, right? So I totally agree with you there. I do think we have the talent. You know, I'm really hoping that Surtain comes back. I don't know if you guys heard about Surtain coming back.
He'll be back this week.
Yeah, so it'll be awesome to see him perform. You know, the Chargers, as soon as he went out, they started targeting his side of the field, right? So he's clearly a difference maker. So it'll be fun to see him come back.
Yeah,
Riley Moss has been picking up that other side though too, man. So
yes.
I'm excited that the defense is playing lights out for sure underneath Vance Joseph. Last year we were ranked like 26th, 25th, 24th in yards per game, yards, you know, return yards, interceptions, all that stuff. And this year we're ranked like close to the top, like second, third, fourth, in all those same exact categories. So I'm excited that Vance Joseph has these guys kind of dialed in, playing as a team, excited, even though there's no name on the team, on the defense whatsoever, other than Surtain, and he's been out for the last 2 weeks. So I am excited if the offense does get to, you know, ramp up and do something exciting, then the defense has been playing lights out and playing good. I'm excited about that part of it. But
so do you guys feel that Bo has been using his legs a little too much to get his confidence rather than settling himself down in the pocket? Because I don't know if you've noticed, and it's been shown that he kind of has happy feet right now when he's trying to pass the ball. I mean, there's been a couple of passes where you're like, what is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice, it's like when he starts moving in the pocket, doing some scrambles, doing design runs, then things start slowing down for him, because he's like, well, it's like a calming for him to use his legs, and then he's like, I just need to put some points on the board. I need to get a first down, and then I'll be okay. You know, I think
it freaks me out a little bit, only because he's not Tim Tebow, right? Tim Tebow was quite a bit heftier than him in terms. He was stout, right? So he can take some punishment out there in the open field. I feel like if somebody were to hit Nix, you know, as he becomes a runner out in the open field, it could do some damage to him. So it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he likes to take risks.
In college?
A little. I mean, I think everybody's kind of surprised about his athleticism right now, but he did. I don't think he ran as much. I don't want to say. I want to say he didn't, but you know, even let's talk a little bit around the league, because the other rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, he's also been running a lot this year. And what happened this last week? He got hurt. Yeah. He got a rib injury. So it's like,
shout out to Maria. She's on.
That's why I agree with you. What's that?
Oh, I was just shouting out my niece. She's online too right now.
It's a family affair.
Yeah.
Where's your family? Didn't pull up?
Man, my family's whack. No, just
No,
Luna
I
Salazar family, we love you, even though
I
you're
wanna
going to
go
watch
back.
this recorded.
I want to go back to what I was saying earlier. I think it's a calibration. I think you're right, Vince. I think that he needs to do a few things to make himself feel productive, something that he knows, but at the same time, he's calibrating. Like it's like, remember when you started driving, right? When we started driving, driving down the road was fine because you're going slow. Then you hop on, maybe an Arapaho. Now we're going 45, 55. Feels a little like you get on the highway for the first time and you're kind of freaking out because you're not used to it. Then you get used to that. And then E470 for the first time and you're headed 75 miles an hour. Like until you calibrate, until you get used to that, you don't feel comfortable. You don't sit back in the pocket, if you will.
Yeah.
And so him being new to the NFL, seeing how fast the defense is on the other side, getting used to his receivers, I think it's just a calibration period too that he's going through.
It's
Yeah, and don't
definitely
get me wrong. Oh, I was gonna say, don't get me wrong. As a fan, and I think we all agree. I mean, I am.
Yeah,
I'm
I enjoy
being
watching
patient this year because I do see it with him. Like he has special moments where, like, okay, this is gonna translate down the road.
Yep.
And we all want it right now, but I think it is gonna translate. It's just being patient, and kind of as fans, it's hard to do that sometimes.
For sure. Well, because we almost settled into not believing that we have a winning consistent,
Dude, 8 years.
yeah. We're kind of like already like in that mode where we just don't have a winning team, but we want it, so it makes sense to be a little, impatiently patient on this for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like
but I mean, even around the league, we see what's going on with right now. We've been pretty fortunate as far as injuries go. I mean, we did have Pat Surtain, but it looks to be more mild than extreme. But man,
Dude, did you guys watch the Bucks game with
yes,
Evans going out and then
Evans and Godwin?
yeah, that was sad, man, at the end.
Yeah,
That was a
I feel
bummer.
bad. Like I was like, man, I kind of feel bad for the Bucks because they do have a decent fan base, and I felt bad for them because they were like at the Broncos game. It was like halftime, they were gone. Like they couldn't watch it anymore.
But they're pretty good. I mean, Baker, he's playing good. I mean, if they
I actually
didn't
like
have those
Baker
injuries,
Mayfield.
Yeah, I like
I like his attitude. I like his spirit.
Mhm.
yeah,
I
I mean,
was
if it
sad
weren't
that
for the
Evans went
injuries,
out.
they're definitely a contender, right? If it weren't for the injuries, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's
yeah,
that, Bo?
I was saying I was sad that Evans went out because he's on my fantasy team, bro, and I lost
Yeah.
by 0.10.
Oh my goodness.
So if he would have just got like another catch or so, I would have been okay. But
Another injury that was crazy was Deshaun. Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, and then
he's
the fans
probably
are
out.
booing him or cheering that he went out.
He deserved it. They were chanting, "You deserve it,"
Yeah,
is
dude,
what I
what
saw.
is going on with people?
bro, because that's his personal life was interfering with his professional life. That's the reason. Like we all know why they're saying that, because he's not playing lights out and he's recklessly acting like an idiot in his personal life, right? So that stuff's gonna graduate. It's gonna gradually gravitate into his professional career, and that's the reason why they were doing that. I mean, we all know that's the reason why. No one
Yeah.
just wants to say it, right? Like,
So are the Browns now kicking themselves for
Signing?
trading Mayfield and bringing it to Deshaun?
I mean, I think they're constantly kicking themselves.
I mean, but look at
Organization.
what's his name? Was it from Adams from
Devontae Adams.
yeah, Devontae Adams. That was funny because he was playing with the Raiders. They end up losing to the Steelers. He gets traded to the Jets, and then he loses to the Steelers again, dude. He lost to the same team twice in one season, dude.
And you've seen who made an appearance on that game.
I don't know who.
Russ.
Russell Wilson
Russell Wilson. Yeah,
came
exactly.
back.
And
All right.
playing lights out.
So did you guys think that Russ played a good game? Or I kind of felt like it was an average game. I didn't think
it was an average game. He had
but
a lot
everybody's
of 50-50.
like now, thinking that he's gonna take the Steelers to the Super Bowl now.
He had a 50-50. he had a few 50-50 balls that his receiver helped him out with. So
He did drop one dime though, dude. There was a play where he dropped a
He
dime
did.
like in the pocket. He like set the football in the pocket of that dude. Like,
Yeah,
that
I mean
was
he
deep drop.
can still spin it, but it's like I tell all the Russell Wilson fans, settle down.
Yeah,
He'll
dude.
show his true colors.
Listen, I like Russell as a person. Like, even though he's a corny dude, I'm a corny dude. You know, a lot of people think I'm
True
corny.
that.
But I actually like him as a human being. Like, he seems like a stand-up guy. I love the fact that he's a Christian. You know, I love the fact that he prays with his teammates and the other team at the end of every game. I think that's awesome. But I think that his prime years are long behind him. There were a couple of throws there that you guys saw were just out to no one. They were just out to the dirt. In fact, they panned over to the coach, Mike Tomlin, and he just had this look on his face like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was just, he's throwing literally to the ground.
He's like, I'm gonna lose my job.
And then at the end of the game, they're like, that was a gutsy call to put in Wilson over what's his name?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, over Fields. And he's like, yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks or something like that. That's why I'm well compensated. But that was a roll of the dice. I still don't get that decision. Like,
it's still
you
a
have
roll
a
of the
decent
dice.
young quarterback that's doing the job, right? He got you to a 4-2 record. Why would you make a substitution at this point? It makes no sense.
He was betting on the game, or he's playing fantasy football, bro. You gotta throw him in for that game, bro.
Or they didn't want to pay Justin Fields his bonus because
I saw
he played like 50% of the snaps this year.
Yeah,
then he would get his bonus. Dude, if that's the reason, I'm telling you,
that's so petty, dude.
So bad, man.
You're gonna put your season on the line over a bonus,
right?
Like, those guys pay out tens of millions of dollars, right? Like a
But
bonus.
If you don't have to pay it out, then dude, that's shady though.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So how about the Kansas City like crap that I think like refs helping them out? What do you guys think about that?
They should have a worse record. Well, they should have the same record as us, at least. They should be 4-3 like us. That's what our record is right now, 4-3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They should have the same records because that Cincinnati game, they should have lost. That Baltimore game, they should have lost because of those stupid calls. And I mean, I can't believe more people. I mean, there has been a lot of the media who has said something about it, but I just, man, and Mahomes, he is a good quarterback. He finds his clutch moments, but he's been average this year. Bo Nix has better numbers than him this year. So,
and we were on vacation.
He has,
and we saw a couple of guys on the boat that had Kansas City jerseys, this and that, and a guy that went on a little tour with us was sitting right next to me, had a Kansas City hat, and I'm like,
was he talking crap?
No, I was talking crap to him actually.
Dang, Pastor Joe,
Kansas City.
That's tight.
I was like, dang. I said something about like, all right, how much are they paying the refs? And he laughed. And he was just like, I know. Like he even agreed. Like a Kansas City diehard even agreed that, dang, yeah, it's.
Did he tell you to just shake it off?
No, he didn't say it.
Taylor Swift reference.
I just left it like that because it was all in good fun. We kind of laughed it off, but he didn't disagree that kind of stuff was happening.
I'll say though, in all fairness to the Chiefs, I will say, like, refs are imperfect. I'm not saying that they aren't doing something intentional. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know what the deal is. There are some calls clearly that have gone there in their direction, in their favor. But every team, right, gets bad calls. When you leave the game up to a bad call, then you're not doing your job right.
Dude,
right?
A 4th and 16 call on a pass interference. Oh, dude, that Cincinnati call was the worst. I'm telling you, man. I mean, and like you said, for the Chiefs, they do have a really good defense this year still, but their offense hasn't been up to par, which understandably, because they don't have the weapons like they did in previous seasons. They're injured right now in receivers, and what's his name, Pacheco's hurt right now. So
And Kelsey's not playing up to his
no,
usual standards,
No.
you know.
He's too
Yeah,
busy doing
I
his
think the
TV
thing
show.
that irks everybody is they still have the attitude like they are. Like they don't have the like the attitude that, man, we're getting by. We happen to be winning. They're just like, yeah, we're the best. It's like, no, you're not, you know, and
Yeah.
but they act like they are still. That's the thing I think that irks everybody.
Man, Joe's got some fire under him today.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
Patrick
that-
Mahomes
I
has
just-
more interceptions than he does touchdowns, bro. So that should say something right there, right? They should be losing, but
Yeah.
it's just not happening.
All right, good topic, guys. Good topic. Where are we headed?
We can do hurricanes. What about the hurricanes?
Dude, what is up with hurricanes? in
Not the
Florida?
Miami Hurricanes.
No, in Florida, right? You're talking about the
Yeah.
hurricanes that came with Milton.
Milton and Helene.
That's crazy to me. Was that the first time ever, Vince, that you know of or that you've heard of tornadoes in Florida?
Yeah, I people have told me that the hurricanes have caused it, but not quite this bad. It was kind of crazy. So, my brother-in-law, Sean, his best friend, Tony, lives in Port St. Lucie, which is on the east coast of Florida. It's like between Cocoa Beach and down in Palm Beach area. So he said that he was like, oh, we should be safe. Nothing's going to happen in this area according to the mapping of Milton. And he was surprised because it was like 5 miles from him, like a neighborhood was destroyed by a tornado. And he was like, man, it's crazy that things got this close. And he actually had some damage to his place, which is crazy. I mean, here in Orlando, as you see, my walls are still up. So Milton didn't hit as bad here as thank God that it was supposed to. Tampa, I was actually out in Tampa like a couple days after, and there was debris all over the roads. Some people said that they definitely had flooding damage. Power lines were down, people lost power, all that stuff. Not as but it's insane that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, which our state did a really good job of preparing for Milton. And I think it was because of Helene. They're like, man, we're not messing around. They did some major preparation for that hurricane, and the cleanup was amazing too. So I mean, I just thank God for I guess the
Your leadership, right?
the leadership stepped up and did a great job of getting things situated for that one, because that Helene, oh my goodness, what it did to the North Carolina area, they weren't prepared for it at all. Like, and I don't think they were thinking that it was even gonna do that much damage. But the rainfall, they said it was like a trillion tons of rain came down like within hours.
Dang.
And
crazy.
just that, I mean, that's why it devastated, because the rivers, everything else couldn't handle it and just took out roadways, everything. I mean, you guys have seen the pictures. It's pretty devastating.
I've heard the
Yeah.
conspiracy theories about it, not to be into that or anything, but I did hear some of that stuff too about the Helene thing, because they're so far inland. They weren't expecting hurricane to do that much damage inland.
What
Go ahead.
what conspiracy? Like what type of stuff?
I heard the conspiracy theory was that they actually opened the dam. So they opened the dam at the same time that the rain was happening. And because they were trying to flood out some miners. So it's like in North Carolina, in that portion or that region of the world, there's large lithium mines there. Lithium mines. And there was a company that was trying to get licensed or do something or take over ownership of one of those mines, and the family and the community was not allowing them to come in and do what they wanted to do. So they ended up they actually opened the the dam when this rain came, and that's what ended up flooding like the majority of the land and all that good stuff. But that's just a conspiracy theory. But I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you're talking about lithium. You're talking about powering every single electric vehicle for the next 20, 30, 50 years. I mean, it does kind of make sense a little bit, right?
Well, I'm sure there's probably some sort of record, right, that is available to show whether or not the dam was opened. Any way you put it, I mean, obviously people's lives were impacted, and it's unfortunate, right? It's really sad that
wait just for a second, guys. Keep going.
It's really sad that you know, so many people's homes, their hard work was flooded away. Being involved in the insurance community, it's hard to believe, but there still are some people out there who don't have adequate insurance, you know, for their belongings. And when catastrophe like this happens, it's really sad because they really do lose everything, you know. And it's certainly not a plug for any products or services or anything like that, but the tragedy that ensues when you know, Mother Nature comes is pretty horrific, and it lasts. You know, there's still people trying to rebuild even now, and maybe some people won't be able to rebuild entirely because of that, right? Which is a tragedy in and of itself.
Yeah.
Just trying to lighten the mood here. Just trying to lighten the mood here. So I think Florida, if there were ever a life situation where Sharknado could happen, it would be in Florida, right?
So you're saying like catastrophic flooding, sharks just
No, tornadoes.
Oh, tornadoes. Oh,
no,
that's right.
A tornado, and then the shark gets in it.
Like
Sharknado.
the ocean just sucking up, or the tornado sucking it up out of the ocean and just dropping them all over the place.
Yes, that's correct. It's very scientific.
That has happened with fish, actually. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, there has been tornadoes like that have picked up fish and dropped them down.
Yeah, see, there you go. Sharknado.
It's possible. Fishnado.
Fishnado.
That's funny. I was on mute. I was like, what the heck? I'm talking. I was cooking something and I forgot it was on the burner. So
bro, you were about to have a Jonado.
No, I know, because Evie's in Puerto Rico and I'm fixing dinner and I forgot I left it on over there. I was like, oh, I'm smelling something right now. I'll be right back.
Shout out to all the Boricuas. Meow,
meow, meow, meow.
Oh, no. Right. Anyway, all right, let's go. Hey, what do we say? We're gonna get to bucket list, but why don't we go real quick to people getting scared? Like the what is that?
Scare video?
Yeah, the scare video. Because
so just to well, go ahead and play the video and we'll talk about our funny situations.
All right, let's do it. Let me I'm gonna share the screen real quick.
Scare video. Am I gonna be scared?
No, sir. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, that was wrong.
That's so fucking funny. Jesse, stop. What are you doing up there? Get down.
Oh, dude, she had a heart attack.
Oh, that's messed up.
Oh. Dude, that little grandma, dude.
That's funny.
I mean, scare videos are funny when you're making them and you're doing them to somebody, but dude, like when you actually be a participant of a scare video that someone's trying to do to you, or someone scares you, it's not so fun. Like we all like. I'm swinging all the time, bro. Like I always catch myself swinging at somebody that tries to scare me.
Dude, no racism here. You guys know that I love all people from all races, all cultures.
Here we go. We're live on YouTube.
But I will tell you what is the most entertaining thing is when black people get scared. And I love black people to death, right? But it's like, oh man, they're so like
They take off running.
dramatic. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
That guy that was telling the lady up on his headboard, he's like, don't mess around.
Get there.
Hilarious. Dude.
No, but usually it's funny because like the black culture, there's always like follow-up after they're scared. They're always like pacing around like woo, woo, you know, like if they're still hyped up about it, there's like a follow-up for like another 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes both ways. If they're said a joke or something was funny, they're just
Yes.
like going all over the place.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It's the best ever. That's another form of entertainment after the entertainment. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that TikTok where people just start running for no reason and
Yeah.
like everybody around them starts running too? It's
Yeah.
hilarious to me. Anyway, not making fun of you black community, so please no hate mail.
no, I'm with
That's me
Roberto.
too, though, man. I get hyped up, and then I want to swing, and the next thing you know, I'm like, or same thing when I start laughing, bro. When I start laughing, I start going and like start wheezing. It's over, dude. I
Wheezing, bro.
yeah, I'd be like, you know, because I'm laughing so hard, I can't even breathe sometimes, man.
So have
I
you
think
guys
I'm bipolar when it comes to that because I've been like freaked out by my nephews and gotten mad and swung for them and then my son will do it every once in a while and he'll get me and I'll be like, dude, that was good, like you got me. So it's like I don't know, I can go either way with the reaction there for sure.
yeah, have you guys ever scared somebody so bad where they started crying?
No.
I don't know if she started crying, but Evie could tell you I was really kind of when we were dating, she had just got her condo and we went to, I forget where, we went to the store or something like that, and we were driving separate. And so I got to the house, to her condo before she did, and I went into her room pitch black. And then she walks in and I'm like, wow, and she like went off. She's like, don't you ever do that. Like it was like I was afraid for my life.
You're like,
And,
okay, are we just breaking up right now?
no, and to be fair, it was pretty messed up because like it was pitch black, it was dark, and that and she likes watching those 40
Murder shows.
murder shows.
Discovery ID.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
so it wasn't cool at all for me.
Bree's the same way. Like I could get Bree all the time with good jump scares, and her reaction, and I do it because her reaction is the best. Like when I scare her. So that's I mean, yeah, it's
Dude, my wife
it's
gets scared
something.
when we're just driving. Although I'm not a great driver.
Oh my
but
goodness,
Dude, driving with you is
we
like
were scared when you were driving. What are you
crap.
talking about?
Speaking of being scared, when we drove, I will never forget that time when we were on tour and I was driving V's little car and I pretended to be asleep. And whoever was driving next to us was all beep 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 beep
It was
beep.
Bo.
You got me,
hilarious,
dude. You got me. You had me.
You're all
had me. I was already tired. Delusional. I'm like falling asleep at the wheel myself. I'm just in this big old freaking U-Haul, like going 55 probably. And you got me, bro. I admit you had me. I was freaked out. I started honking the horn. I'm like, Joe, Carlos is asleep at the wheel.
I think
what do we do?
You had me.
I know
dude.
we're kind of going off subject, but with your driving, but I think the funniest but not funny story was when you said you fell asleep when you were driving. Excuse me, that's my dog barking.
Live on YouTube.
I know. But when you fell asleep and in Carmer City there was those ditches and you went in one of those ditches, and didn't you say you flipped the car and you wake up and that song El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
Yes. Yes,
you
I
had
was
no
coming
shirt.
home late.
And you took off your shirt and your shoes, didn't you?
No, I didn't take them off. They flew off. I was fully
How
clothed
did you
when I started.
Dude,
I was coming
I
home from
guarantee
like
you,
I was
I
coming
guarantee
home
you,
from
you
a
took
late
them
night
off.
soiree, and yeah, I fell asleep. And dude, I hit that ditch. My car went like over itself, and yeah, I remember when I landed, it was so peaceful because El Shaddai was. And I looked at my body, and my shirt was off because I was wearing a button up. My shirt was off, and then my shoes were off. It was so crazy. But yeah, I live to tell about it. My car, the roof of the car was totaled after that, and that's a totally separate story in and of itself.
Cutlass.
It wasn't even my car.
There was the cool Cutlass at your brother's.
Yeah. But the roof was like an accordion, dude. It had like wrinkles. It was, yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude,
Actually,
I think
some people would say I'm a really good driver to survive something like that.
dude, you're
Well,
like on. Have you seen that movie Due Date where he's like, I was so relaxed that nothing really happened to me.
Well, I don't know. In a way, it is better that you were asleep because that could traumatize you. You seeing that stuff, you know what I mean, in front of your eyes, and something happened.
There was another time I was driving home from school after a hard day of class, and I was on my way from
Hard
Colorado
day of
Christian
class.
University on I-25, just before you merge on I-75, you know, right over there.
I-70.
No, 76. You know where
Okay,
you merge
76,
on to
got it.
76.
You said
And I was driving behind this huge diesel, and it was in the same poor car, dude, that the Cutlass. And this was before the flip, obviously. And I'm cruising down the highway, and it's stop and go traffic. And I fell asleep. And I remember vividly, like, just feeling the boom. And I woke up. And I was like, oh, great. And like a piece from the bumper was like flying up. And I was like, oh, no, now I'm going to have to get out of the car. And, you know, at the time, I didn't have insurance. I'm just talking about insurance. I didn't have insurance. So I was like, oh, man, what am I going to tell this dude? And the freaking truck just drove off. He didn't even feel me hit him.
I didn't feel it. It's a semi.
Yeah, my car, I drove off with my little busted up hood. It was like facing up. And, yeah, it's pretty funny.
All right, moving on. Moving on.
That's funny, dude.
All right, so bucket list stuff. This one's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody in life has an official or unofficial bucket list, things that they really want to do, things that when the topic comes up, they're like, oh, I want to do that before I die, before I get too old, whatever the case may be. So let's talk about it.
I'll throw mine out. I have a bucket list item. It's technically one item, but it kind of reinvents itself every single year. So my bucket list item is to go to every single NFL stadium to a Broncos away game, and try to get all 28 stadiums in and take a picture, you know, of me at the stadium and all that good stuff. But so it's kind of like one item, but it's a continual item until I finish all 28 stadiums.
How many do you have so far?
Bro, I don't know the exact number. Give me a second and let me think about it. And you guys go on to your bucket list and I'll count out how many I actually have.
Well, I have 4. Just, I've gone to every single Florida one plus the Denver, so I'm 4 in. You probably have what? You probably have about 5 or 6, Bo, right?
I think I have closer to like 12.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's the furthest one you've gone to?
I think the furthest one was Miami with you guys. And that was a really cool one because me and Vince and Joe, Carlos, you didn't go, did you?
No, because you guys were haters.
We didn't like you at the time. And then
I told you I couldn't go. You suckers still went.
What are we supposed to do? Tell them to hold off a week for playing?
My bucket list for you?
I forgot.
No, so that one was really cool, and I'll tell you guys tell our listeners about that one. That one was Vince, Joe, and I went to that one, and we took our sons to that one, and we all got to see the game together with our boys. So that one was actually pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yep.
That was Jose always reminds me of when Vince was driving us over there, because it was like what, 2 hours from your house, something like that.
It's like
And-
4 hours.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's a long road trip from your house. We're all in his car, and LeBeau's falling asleep, and his head tucks back, and all of a sudden, like he snores like louder than a subwoofer, and then wakes himself up. And
Oh man.
yeah, it was.
Do you guys remember Brad? He used to do that. He'd snore and then he'd be like, "Am I snoring? Did you hear that?"
For those who don't know, Brad was our road manager for a few years. What's up,
Yeah.
Brad? Are you still out there? You
Might
still
be.
wearing those boots that we bought you?
Of that equipment that you took from us. Just oh wait,
Oh man.
fight you in the front yard. Just kidding.
What's your bucket list, Joe?
Man, I've got a few things, but one of the recent things that comes to mind right now is we were on a cruise recently. And I mean, anytime you're next to the ocean, you just realize that I'm nothing, like God's pretty big, Earth's pretty big. Anybody who falls in the water is gone forever. Like you just like right away realize that. But I would love to see just whales like in Alaska, just go for some kind of boating trip or some kind of a fishing trip where you see the actual whales in their natural habitat, and or some of those videos where you see them catch these outrageous sized fish and they're just like exaggerated big. And I don't know, there's something with me and wanting to see things that are just larger than life that I haven't seen yet. And so I know that, I don't know if that's a fun one or not, but I want to see some whales and because I think there's like a certain anxiety and fear that will hit me, but wow at the same time. And I want that feeling.
Nope, no whales for me. I've
All
seen whales. Yeah, Mandy and I were in Cancun. Was it Cancun? Maybe it was no, it was Cabo, because we went to Lover's Isle, and we went on the glass bottom boat, and we saw some whales coming up, and they actually swam right next to us for a long time. That was
Right.
kind of freaky because you're tiny in that little boat.
Yeah.
You're basically in a little rowboat next to this behemoth.
Yeah.
So no thanks. But I have to be honest with you guys. I struggle with thinking about a bucket list item, and I don't know why that is. I feel like I've gone to some pretty awesome places in life. I've done some pretty cool things. I feel pretty fulfilled, not to say that you guys don't feel fulfilled because you have a bucket list. But, maybe one thing that I would be excited about that I've never done is maybe going to a safari, in Africa, maybe getting eaten up by a lion or something. But that would be cool, to go out into the Serengeti. And is the Serengeti in Africa? To their parks out there. But I can't think of anything else that I would think is like, oh yeah, it's bucket list. I just don't think in those terms for some reason. Like, I don't know, man. Does that sound? It's probably weird, right? That I don't think that way.
I think we all might have them. Maybe nothing comes to mind. But at the same time, you have been blessed to have been to a few places. So I get it for sure. Yeah, I want to go to Israel too. Like that's another thing. We almost went this year, but
Maybe after things
a little bit
settle
of
down.
war going on, so it probably wasn't the right way to.
Yeah.
So Israel.
Yeah, that would be pretty fascinating, right? To get out there and walk the lands that our Savior walked.
Yeah, man.
That'd be awesome. But I mean, I think more of a simple. It's funny that you talked about bucket list because my sister was just in town because it was parents' weekend for my niece who goes to Tampa University. So her and my brother-in-law were in town. We all went to dinner with my brother-in-law's best friend Tony, and he was talking about he just did a plane jump recently, and so he was fired up about it. So he's like telling me, he's like, who wants to do it next time with me? And my sister was like, I'll do it. And everybody's like, no way. And my sister's like,
Nope.
you're going to do it with me. And I'm like, sure. So I think next time she comes out here, we're going to be doing a plane jump. So
The thing that turns me off about skydiving is that you have to do it tandem with somebody, at least until you get certified. And that to me is like takes the danger out of it. I don't know.
I mean,
You're still falling, 20,000 feet or whatever, but
yeah.
it's just something about having somebody like on my back. You know what I'm saying? It's like
And until you're dropping, and then you're like, please hold me.
English or Spanish?
What's that?
English or Spanish?
What?
English or Spanish?
Oh, am I saying that in English or Spanish?
No, I'm just saying, do you English or Spanish?
Yeah, English or Spanish.
El que mueve primero es gay. No, I just said that because Carlos is all, I don't want anybody on my back. And never mind. Y'all just missed
No,
it.
I get it, bro. I know where you're going, Joe. I see. I don't want no other
Yeah.
dude man hugging me either, bro. Like I'm not.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have the blacks angry with us, and now you just added the skydiving community. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Way to go.
That's what we aim to do around here on the Kings.
Okay, so and I tallied up my stadiums. I actually only have a lot less than I thought I did. I actually only have 7, but I'm headed to 8 here shortly. I got Miami. That was awesome because I got it with you guys and our boys. Jacksonville. That was cool. I did that actually with my friend George Garcia. Shout out to George Garcia and his family. I did that with Christine and Mario, George, George's sister and brother.
Did we sit with you guys?
I don't remember if you did sit with us, Vince. Yeah, you were there at the Jacksonville game.
I don't remember if we sat together or just were there with each other. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we did. Remember we tailgated. We parked at that.
Yeah.
We all tailgated. We all walked in together. It was like
Yeah.
about 50 of us walking into the stadium,
Yep.
Jacksonville. I did SoFi Stadium. So that was dope because they're like stadium's brand new, state of the art. That was awesome. Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium. The Raiders was my first one to do. I did
That was in Oakland, right?
Yeah, it was in Oakland in 2014, I believe it was.
How was that? Was that wild?
It was wild, dude. I wore Carl Mecklenburg throwback jersey.
Oh yeah, good choice.
And there was it was actually a Hall of Fame night for them.
Oh
So
dang.
John Madden was there and he was like in the box seat, like right above me, dude. Of course, I flipped him off, said give him the bird. And I'm like, yeah, dude. I was like, screw you, John Madden. You suck. You're a Raider, dude.
Good.
Only
Whoa,
fight-
that is gutsy, bro.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. And then walking through the crowd and stuff, getting from the car to the seat and the seat to the car, that's the craziest part, right? But no one like swang on me, no one spit on me, all that good stuff. They called my mom every single word in the book. So shout out to my mom for getting called all that stuff.
She wasn't with you though, right?
No, dude,
Oh, yeah.
not at all. But mother, everything. Your mom's a
Mother
whatever,
of
you know
God.
what I mean?
Wow.
Your mom's a queen.
Yeah, exactly. And the only fight that I seen at the Raiders stadium was 2 Raider guys fighting each other. So like, what, dude? Like it's fighting each other. Dude, like,
Sounds right.
what's happening?
That was wild.
I seen Danger Russell Wilson when he was in Seattle playing against Denver. He was
He
a
probably looked a lot
Seahawk
better.
at the time. The Seahawk fans, they're ridiculous. They're almost as worse. They're actually worse than the Raiders fans do. They're
Dang.
all like wild and they're the 12th man. So don't talk to any of their fans because they know everything about football and they're the greatest fans on the earth. But Seattle was cool. Seattle's actually a nice place to go. If you guys ever have a chance to go to Seattle, I would recommend that as a bucket list item, Carlos. Seattle's a nice town. And then Chicago was dope. So Chicago, the town itself was amazing. I went to that one.
Did you go to
my
the South side?
nephew.
Safe town.
Yes, I did. I did actually go to the South Side. So there was my nephew, who was born and raised here in Denver, he's a Chicago Bears fan for whatever reason. His family's from Chicago, so they're all Chicago Bear fans, and he's a Bears fan. And I'm like sick and tired of hearing this dude talk about Chicago Bears this, Chicago Bears that, and he's never been to the game.
Oh,
So like, that's it, bro. You never been to the game, to a Chicago game, then don't ever talk to me about anything again. So you're going with me to the game in Chicago, in their stadium, in your home team's stadium, and then you can talk trash or do whatever you want. So that was awesome because I got to go with him. We beat them, however, but it was cool to like be able to see him finally in his like home team's stadium and doing that whole thing.
That was
Chicago
probably exciting for him.
was cool. What's that?
It was probably exciting for him.
Oh yeah, dude, he had the time of his life. He's been to Chicago many times before, but he had never went to the Bears game. And
Chicago's one of those. The Bears Stadium is one of those iconic places, though. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's
Mike
weird
Ditka and those
because
dudes.
what's that?
I'm just saying Mike Ditka and the legacy that they set up for the Bears. They're iconic, dude. I mean, any way you look at it. I'm obviously not a Chicago fan, but just the town itself for football, I think, is iconic.
The Bears.
Yeah, their town was a little bit wild. Chicago is an awesome city. I would recommend that at his bucket list. Also, Carlos, you can take a sunset cruise in the Chicago River. You can head out the Chicago River, go out into Lake Michigan during the day, and you kind of see how that whole thing pans out. You turn around in Lake Michigan, you're coming back into the Chicago River, and it's now nighttime, and you're seeing the city lights and all that good stuff coming on. The Twilight Cruise is highly recommended to do that there. It's a weird feeling when you're seeing like 100-foot tall skyscraper right next to the water, and you're like cruising by in a boat. It's just a kind of a weird feeling, but it's a crazy city.
You know what would be more epic if Kanye was the tour guide of that boat trip,
and then performed "I Love Kanye."
Yeah.
That'd be sick, dude.
That too, for sure.
Vince, what's yours, man? What's your bucket list?
I kind of already I can't really think of one, but I was just talking about going skydiving.
That's it. Yeah,
it's gonna scratch off something that everybody kind of talks about, and even though I'm gonna have a person hanging off my back, it'll be cool still. So
sorry, I didn't mean to poo-poo on your idea. Dude, I know what you should try. I think you should try jumping off your roof with LeBeau strapped to your back to a trampoline. That would be probably more extreme than
that's already happened though. All right. That has already been fulfilled, bro. There's no bucket list issue there, bro.
that's fun.
Oh man.
Cool. What else we got?
Don't be saying that kind of stuff with that pineapple hanging out by your side there.
Hey, lay off my pineapple,
and
dude.
it's upside down, bro. Whoop, whoop.
Hey, whoa, watch it. That's how they grow.
And your Apple sticker on a Windows PC.
Yeah, that's dope, right, Joe? I knew someone was gonna finally catch that at some point. It would be.
Oh, is that like fruit salad? You like tossing it up?
Yeah,
Dude,
bro. That's the way to go.
Like
Dude,
to
I
top
live in
it up with
Florida.
fruit salad?
I live in Florida.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube, everyone. Yeah.
I'm here in Florida with the stigmatism of the villages putting their upside down pineapples on their front door. So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
All right. Hey, I'm not going to confirm nor deny the fact that I have an upside down pineapple.
Well, there's no denying you have it right there.
I'm not going to offend another public social group.
I can't deny it. I'm a straight swinger.
All right. What do we got? What's on the list, man?
I'm going to the Baltimore game in a week and a half.
That'll be a cool game, dude.
Yeah, it's not.
What? All right. I want to bet. Let's bet $50. If you guys
want to bet, but I'll
$25?
send me something.
Let's put in a pot. All right, $25 each, 100 total. I don't know how we would split it. Who's gonna win that game? Denver or Baltimore?
I think Baltimore, man.
Do we really want to say?
I don't want to say that.
Listen, dude. When Tampa Bay came here, everybody was giving Tampa Bay,
You mean when we went to Tampa Bay?
When the Broncos went to Tampa Bay?
Yeah. I mean, everybody, Oh, I thought we played them at home. Anyway,
No, right there.
anyway, any
They
given
were-
Sunday, dude. I think the Broncos have the talent if they show up, and it's one of those things where, NFL teams really do tend to play up. You know what I'm saying? When they're playing really good teams. So I would not put it beyond the realm of possibility to see the Broncos upset Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens in
It's going to
Baltimore.
be really tough, man. I'm going to the game, so of course I want the Broncos to win, that type of thing. But
No, you
it's going to
don't,
be really
dude.
tough. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry together, bro. Like that stuff has been coming on like nobody's business, bro. That's kind of like the little missing link that they had that they needed for their team to get over the hump. They're always a solid team year in and year out, but they were just missing that one little piece. And now that they have it, it's pretty dangerous, bro. They look a pretty good team.
Yeah, but have they played a defense as good as Denver's?
Yeah, the Chiefs, and they didn't do anything.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
I get
Maybe
you
hopefully
guys.
their defense can
They're
keep us in the
whack.
game. No, you meant like that they didn't do anything against the Chiefs,
They
Vince?
didn't do it.
Or
Derrick Henry had like one of his worst games against the Chiefs.
yeah, see, so there is hope there, I guess, Carlos. Like you're saying, there's hope because they couldn't do anything against a really good defense. So hopefully that's a better outcome for us too.
Cool.
All right. Make sure and go live on TikTok so we can watch the game too.
All right. Retro engineer your life. What's something that if you were to go back and you were able to engineer? And that's kind of a hard question to ask. I mean, what we're really saying is if you can go back and do some things different, change some things, what would you do? I think it's kind of a hard question to answer for anybody because as you go through life, as you get older, you learn more. And it's impossible to have done what you know now back then because you didn't have the life experience to know what you know now to do that, what you really wanted to do back then. I think there are some regretful moments. This is just me kind of setting the tone for this, laying the foundation. I think there are some things that we thought about doing that we don't know why we didn't do growing up. But if we're talking hypothetical, again, we can take our current experience and retrofit it backwards and see what we would do with it. But realistically, we wouldn't have known. We did what we could with the knowledge that we had for the time and age and era that we were in our life. What do you guys think?
I have a good one. I think that if I were to do things over again, I'm totally like the Uncle Rico of the bunch. I totally think that I'm like this premier athlete, right? In my mind.
Okay, this is good. This is getting good.
And if I were to do things all over again, I definitely would have put in more effort to play sports, organized sports in high school. And then, if I were good enough to go into college, but that is something that I've often thought, would I have been the next Chad Ochocinco? Could I have been the next, the next,
How about
you're built
Nocho
more for like
Cinco?
a tight end at the most, bro.
what? What did you say?
I said, how about Nocho Cinco?
Oh, that's whack, dude. That's whack.
Okay, so let's be real. Even though you're no, what I mean by that is like you weren't bad. You just had like weird form. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you like basketball, you would actually make some shots, but it would be like Jokic. Like you would
Well,
be
that's because I was uncoached. I was like a diamond in the rough.
So you know how a basketball
around.
player would jump, like they do their jump shot and it's like either straight up or they do a fadeaway jump shot. Carlos was like his jump shot, he would jump to the right every time he would do his jump shot.
I remember that.
Like I don't know if one leg's longer than the other and it would push him to the right or something.
Bring it to the right. That's funny. No, but in all seriousness, like you weren't bad. You just were just awkward, in my opinion. Like
You just weren't good.
Yeah.
Well, look at these hands. These are receiver hands right here, or tight end hands.
So you're saying tight end. Yeah, you're more built like a tight end, bro. You probably run like a tight end. I mean, just to be honest, if you're going offense, you got tight end quality. If you're going defense, you probably got like middle linebacker quality. I don't think you're that fast. You're a little bit not
Forget you,
that
dude.
agile.
I'm very fast, bro.
I don't think you're agile enough to get around the corner and be the end rusher, bro.
Here's another example why I don't think the premier athlete was in your cards.
Listen,
Dude,
I'm not
my
even
dream. I don't understand why you
I'm
guys
not
are
even-
weighing in. This is
hold on.
my re-engineering.
We're not supposed
I'm
to.
not even telling you what I'm gonna be then.
Hold on. Hold on, because do you remember that time it was like right before we were gonna do a concert, and we were like, oh, let's jump in the pool, and Carlos jumps in the pool like face first and doesn't put his hands out and like hits his face on the bottom of the pool because he has
Dude,
the
you got a
worst
scar right
reflexes
there.
ever.
Didn't you get a scab and rip it
Yes,
right
he went on
here
stage,
inside
he
the
had a
indent?
huge
How does
scab on his
the
head.
indent the indent, bro?
Yeah, we had a show that night. And yeah, I had a scab. But here's the funny part. You know what's hilarious is I saw that coming like all day long in slow motion. It was like, and I remember hitting my head, bonk, like underwater. You know how weird things sound underwater. And I heard myself go, yeah, dude. I totally saw it coming. I don't know why I didn't put my hands out. I don't know why I didn't do that.
Your reflex suck, dude. Like imagine
You
getting
did put your hands out. It was just too late.
imagine like a Josh Allen throwing you a football. I mean, it would be stuck in the like space of your helmet because you put your helmet.
But it would still be a catch. It would still be awkward, and he would still win and
Heck
score.
yeah, dude.
That's right.
Dude, I would have been dope.
This is his dream, and we're dogging it.
I know, dude. This is my re-engineering. What the heck, dude? All right, who's next? You guys suck.
I mean, it could have, the whole premier athlete thing threw us off a little bit, but yeah, we're I like it. All right, LeBeau, where are you at, man? What
I don't necessarily know if I'm a premier athlete or anything, or if I focused on any particular realm of that nature. I think that it's that whole legacy thing comes back to my mind, like having a legacy, leaving a legacy, all those type of things. Like if I were to go back in time and be the same type of person, I would definitely do a lot of things the same. But one thing I would want to do is like get myself on a building, like the Crow Field House. Remember you guys had that? We had the Crow Field House, or like the Wellington Webb building downtown, or like the Byron Rogers Federal Courthouse. Like get myself on a building, like, because that stuff's gonna last. That's like a legacy that's gonna stay there for a long time, and people are gonna see that, and they're always gonna know there's a man behind what that legacy or that type of like outcome was.
Well, to be fair, your version of trying to get yourself on the building was tagging things.
I definitely did that. Definitely did that. And speaking of that, I actually have something for that. But like that type of thing. Did you guys know? And this is just a weird random topic. You guys know I always come up with this crazy stuff off the top of my head. When they first opened that bridge under I-70, when they redid it, I went on Facebook and I declared that bridge was named after me, and I like logged it on Facebook, the time, the date, that type of stuff. So do you think that would ever hold up like in court or somewhere? Someone tries to name that bridge, they're like, wait, hold on, this person actually said that like years ago and like documented it into public. What do you think? How would that go?
I have a hard time thinking that it would stand because you don't really have any right to it.
But who does then?
That's almost like me going to
Don't I
Disney
have
World
just
and
as
saying
much
I'm
right to it as anyone
king of
else?
this castle because I declare it because nobody else declared it.
Well, I guess I can kind of see your point because your taxes, state taxes, right, go towards paying for some of that. I'm sure that city tax also went towards paying for that. But I think that at the end of the day, you just don't have the authority to name it. I don't think that it would be something that would be up for, for the
Naming
public
rights?
to name. Yeah.
Yeah. So who has the rights to name it then? Is what
Well,
I'm getting at.
I
It would
think
have to be. It would have to
the
be the
government.
government.
Yeah.
It had to be declared by the government.
Well, I declared it by myself and I posted it to the public. And I said, let no man deny that the day that this happened.
You
I
and the
said,
10 homeless that live underneath it.
no, I literally declared it and said, let no man deny the fact that I declared that this be called the LeBeau Tunnel on this day, this time. Like,
I don't think that's how it works, bro. I don't
I
think.
mean, I
that's
think
how-
before things were discovered, or while the early world was being discovered, or the land itself, you might have a chance. But anyway.
I think that worked when your forefathers were roaming, the
So-
Western
so-
hemisphere.
So yeah, that's
I declare
you're-
this solid rock or whatever.
So you're onto something, because if you had a private property and the city wanted to buy the property, but you're like, hey, I'll let you buy the property, but when you make a roadway through this property, I want it to be called the Goulet Boulevard or whatever,
yeah.
something like that. I think that's a more of a realistic. So that would have been the way to retrofit because if you
Although
would have bought
it might populate on Facebook anytime somebody tries to tag themselves there. You'll probably forever show up as one of the options.
I don't know, dude.
Anyway. All right.
What would you do if you were to retro engineer?
Well, you lost me. Hold on. You lost me. So what? You want a bridge named after you? That's what you would do different?
No, I would just want some sort of iconic building, some sort of like something that's going to be a structure that's going to stay behind. Could be a statue, could be something that's going to be like a structure that's going to be behind. Like a giant headstone. Right?
You'll have a giant headstone.
Yeah,
I
will.
have a giant head.
I'm thinking just like bigger than that, though.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, just real quick, like, would it be some kind of public office? What would you do to get that? Like, what would you do
It's easy. You can get a building named after you. Just donate a ton of money to an organization. They'll name a building or a park after you.
Yeah.
They'll give you a bench. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, if
What would
you
you
were to
call
go
it?
back,
We had a lot of names when we grew up for you. What
say,
was-
say if you were to buy the property that is now, like,
Owner building.
say, for instance, the Southlands, if you bought that
Tallest
property,
building in the skyline.
yeah,
I was gonna say it, but I
Live on
remember this
YouTube.
was a family show.
No, we're live on YouTube.
All right, who's next?
Joe.
Thanks for ripping up my dreams, guys. I appreciate it. Joe, on to you. If you were to
Second,
retro engineer your life, what would you
second
do?
dream
Don't
ripped.
worry, Vince. We'll get to you.
Dude, I'm gonna get a jersey now that says Nocho Cinco. That's so whack, dude.
No Cinco. Man, I love like tech, and I think that we were privileged to grow up when it all evolved, when it all was invented, when the internet, when from pagers to telephone, to cell phones, to internet, to online. And I wish I could be maybe somewhat specific, but I wish I would have followed that longer, because I like what we do. Even doing this right now is a lot of fun. But doing, just following the online space a little bit sooner, with as it relates to tech. So maybe I've always been into, maybe starting a channel where I reviewed technology, reviewed tech, reviewed phones, because I love that, and I feel like we had every opportunity in the world to get in on anything we wanted as early as we wanted, because we were here at the birth of everything. And so kind of being a little more, recognizing that a little bit more, what YouTube would eventually be, what, podcasting would eventually be, things like that. I think.
So are you saying you want to be like a Steve Jobs, where you're like creating innovations, or are you saying that you want to be like a Logan Paul that is just using technology to get rich and famous?
Not necessarily about rich or famous, but I would say be, like you leveraging technology as it grew and as it evolved, you know, being there from the start, you know, throwing out those first videos, throwing out those first, you know, whatever that looked like. Cause I feel like I had tastes of it here and there. I feel like even growing up in church, we were one of the first churches to have a projector that when they were really expensive, you know, and do that whole projection thing over an actual like overhead, you know, those overhead screen things with the bright light and all that. And then everything kind of just passed me up as I got a little bit older. Let things, you know, get technology got a little more advanced, and I didn't follow through with it, and always followed it, but always loved it. But yeah, I don't know if that even makes sense, but maybe
Yeah,
just
I
Yeah,
mean,
you basically didn't have enough time to keep up with technology.
Yeah,
and went a
because
different route.
I think it goes with you know, you kind of step into something else that kind of takes you away from that. You want to do it, but not that it was bad what you were doing, but it's just, and it was a necessity of what you were doing, but
Mhm.
it just wasn't, you know, man, you always had that in your side of you of like, man, I wish I was doing this instead.
Yeah. And maybe there was some fear there. I think I always had a little bit of fear of doing my own thing. And really just owning it, you know, depending on what season of life I was in. But I always admired other people for stepping out and doing their thing, you know.
But
So
you're doing your thing, man. Shout out J.A. Psycho. Make sure you follow him on YouTube,
Yep.
Instagram, all that good stuff. Give him the likes and subscribes.
well,
So
I
you
think
like
that's
him.
one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about not giving stuff like that up and stuff like this, because I feel like playing catch up to a you know, a lot right now, trying to catch up to what I knew I should have and could have been doing for a lot longer. So
I
All right,
see
Ben.
you. I see you and LeBeau's dreams a little bit different than my dream, because you guys could still. What's so funny, dude?
You're like, because I feel like I can still play.
I
Uncle
could do
Reed
20 push-ups in Puerto Rico.
over the
No,
mountain.
dude, I was going in the other direction. Like, I can't ever become an NFL player now. You know what I'm saying? But you guys, you can still do, like, LeBeau can still get a toilet named after him or whatever he wants, and you know, Joe can still do his thing. You know, you can still you have multiple YouTube channels, so
You are
like
doing it.
you're doing the thing that you wish you could do.
Well, and maybe being able to do that full time is the,
Okay.
without having, you know, to have, you know, your base income, you know,
Got it. Okay.
yeah. So
What about you, Vince? If you're to retro engineer your life, what would you do there differently, or how would you do it differently? Or
So,
Besides
mean-
not being a butthead.
yeah, I mean, we all would want to do the Uncle Rico thing, you know, put me in coach because I could do it. But no, man,
You had your shot.
yeah, I really think when, even as far as when our days with Candle kind of, we kind of went our own way with things. I really wish I would have pressed forward with some of the music stuff that I wanted to, and things that I wish I would have just kept pressing forward for. As far as music goes, I really believe that there was that ability there, and I was able to do some of the things. And I feel like I still have it in me of doing some things, but like Joe was saying, you know, when we kind of went our own direction, when God's New Creation Candle went our own direction, we kind of like, well, what kind of lives are we setting on? You know, at the time, we were going through stuff in our lives. You know, there was a lot of things that we had got a lot going on in our lives personally. And then I ended up, after the stuff that I went through, I ended up meeting my wife, and kind of, we just fell in love. And the years just, you guys know, things just start going quick. You know, we fall in love, we get married, we have kids, and Vince needs to pay for these kids, and you know, things like that. Things happen, you know, and um it sometimes you think, well, it shouldn't stop me from doing some of those things, but you know, I never look back and say, man, I shouldn't have done this, and look back and I don't try to look at it as a regret, because a lot of the stuff that has led me to today and with my family and everything, I'm like glad that I took the steps that I did, in my job and everything,
Yeah.
So, but even now, and I think I've told, I think I told Joan LeBeau also. I don't know if I told you, Carlos, but I recently have made a change to set up some different changes for me in a retirement and getting me set of what I really want to do in moving forward right now. So I've gone a different direction with my career and everything. So I'm like taking steps, and I think if we listen to the world and saying you got to get stuff done when you're young or whatever, because sometimes we need to take care of other things when that time comes. But I think there's always an opportunity. Speaking of Joe, like who would have ever thought, Joe, you would have like all these viewers? Oh, I'm this age, I can't, there's no way nobody's going to watch what I'm doing. But look at, people are watching what you're doing because you're good at it. You have these whole years of experience doing it. So you're enticing because people are like, man, he actually knows what he's doing, so that's exciting. And so I'm like right now taking a lot of the experience that I have over the years in what I know and what I could take, and I'm going to put it to work to push me towards my retirement age and doing things that I want to do right now. So it's exciting. I'm kind of retrofeeding my life right
I was
now.
just gonna say, you're actually retro engineering your life right now. Like literally
retro engineering. Yeah.
retro
Well,
engineering.
and I don't think anybody could ever take away from the fact that we did actually start one of the first Christian hip hop bands in existence. Like we weren't too far after some of the pioneers
Yep.
from way back that people don't even know. Like today's hip hop artists, they don't know they don't know Stephen Wiley, right? They don't
Yep.
know who else?
D-Boy.
D-Boy. They don't even know who they are. Like I went on Ruslan's podcast a few years ago when he wasn't as big as he is now, and he was pulling people in on Zoom, and I was telling him about us. I was telling him about like all the first like Fat Boy Records and all the stuff that was happening in our era. And he's a rapper. Like he's a rapper. He knows Lecrae. He knows all those guys, and they don't know anything about that. They know nothing about that. In a lot of ways, that paved the way for what they're doing today. Like we were, if anything, ahead of the game, where people were still saying that's can't even be in the church. We were so far ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as far as that experience goes, I do feel like we maximize the influence based on what was available at that time. I remember emailing with KJ52 at one point, and we were talking about some of the projects that we'd been a part of, and I mentioned God's New Creation, and I was like, "Have you heard of it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." It took me away because I didn't realize, this was at the height of his music. This was like just as his second record was hitting off, and I was doing the solo thing. I do think that we hit a ceiling just based on the resources that were available at the time. And I think that that's just the way the life is, right? I mean, when you think about early just mainstream hip hop artists, you think about Kool Herc and those guys, you think about even Run DMC, they're probably making more money today on their television personalities than they ever made in music back then, because the resources and where the industry was back then, right? Sort of the same thing with us. We hit a ceiling based on what was available. So anyway, I say all that to say that, I'm proud of you, Vince, for following in your dreams and your footsteps. And I think that's awesome, dude. I think that's exciting, man. And it is never too late to re-engineer your life, unless you want to be a premier athlete in the NFL. Now 50 years old, apparently. I'm the only one. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Or bringing along the lines that Vince wants to be an entertainer. So that brings us to our very
Let me
last
just say
word.
one more thing though about that.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
go ahead.
there.
Go ahead.
We were the first band that would tour with a CD that was burnt from a machine that had all our tracks on it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Everybody's like, that's a CD. That's like a burnt CD. That's like, it wasn't a tape. It wasn't like
The the mini discs.
yeah, like we were the first bands, one of the first bands to have our
Did
master of all our tracks on a CD.
everybody
this was
wanted to
before
use a
the
mini
period of-
disc player after us. I
Not
remember.
to, and let me clarify to everybody, not to have CDs out on the market because we sold CDs, but when home CD recorders first came out, like where you could burn a copy of a CD, we were like literally one of the first bands ever to have our own tracks. We'd go to a church, we have it on
performance
CD.
tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, performance tracks. You have it on CD, so new that some CDs wouldn't even play it because there was the technology was
Yeah, the CD players wouldn't even play them.
they didn't recognize them. So anyway, yeah, that was good.
Good entertainment, right?
Yes.
Good entertainment.
All right, that brings us to our last topic, guys. Top 5 entertainers. I don't know why it has to be top 5. Could it be?
It doesn't have to be top 5. We can do top 5, top 1. You guys give me the entertainers. They can be past, present, alive, dead, whatever you guys think they might be. You guys tell me a top entertainer of your choice. I'm going to write mine down in case somebody gets it. Carlos, who do you got for your top entertainer?
Oh boy, dude, my top entertainer I think is going to be. All right, so I'm going to pick one that is in the music genre, which is kind of a tie between two, and then I'm going to do one for all art forms. First, for the music, I'm going to say music and live performance. I'm going to say it's a tie between Prince and Michael Jackson.
Okay, Michael Jackson was a great entertainer, dude.
In terms of everything else, I'm going to say Hugh Jackman. The dude can sing, dude can act, dude can dance, and I think he's really entertaining overall. Right, when you think about the range that he has, very few people, I think, in the entertainment industry overall can impact an audience like he can, both in person as well as through media, whether it's through a CD. My girls and I, we listen to The Greatest Showman all the time. Still, that movie's 5, 6 years old, and we still jam out that CD. It's got amazing songs on it, and Hugh Jackman's voice it's powerful. So
okay, cool. That's a good one.
Yep.
Joe, who you got?
Man, I'm a fan, and man, this, I wish I would have had a little more time to think about it, but I'm a fan of comedy. There's a lot of great comedians out there, and I'm sure you guys will think of a lot. But when it comes to just relatability, at least for me and how I grew up, I think John Crist is one of the best, comedians out there as it relates to just talking about like merging like how the church world thinks and how the modern society is. And he's just really good. He just has a way of reminding me of how I grew up in church, what was funny, what wasn't so fun, what was just ridiculous. And I don't know, John Crist he's gifted for sure. John Crist is
okay.
And his
spelled like Christ.
Yeah, it's spelled like
it is.
It's Christ, I think is how you say it. His podcast is subpar in my opinion. Like his
stand-up is
it's so
great.
good, man. So just look him up. Like you'll instantly, like for me, I just connect on so many levels because of his connection to having grown up in church. And I also appreciate that, he got into some trouble a few years back and made a comeback. He made a comeback. He was able to reinvent himself. And really be even a bigger entertainer than he ever was before. So that came to mind first because I love comedy. I love to just, laugh and be taken away to some worlds. And I love the storytelling aspect of it and just having fun. So
nice. Okay, cool. Vince, who you got? Top entertainer.
So, I am in total agreement with Carlos. with his two like music, as far as of all time. And you think of just solo entertainers. I mean, Elvis Presley was the guy is like right up there. He
Yeah.
was doing movies, he was acting, he was I mean, guy was above everything. He dude was just an amazing entertainer. He had the charisma, everything about him. But I think as far as like top, Michael Jackson has to be the greatest entertainer I believe of all time. Dude just and that was something about him that was interesting. And I think we always kind of tie stuff to the P. Diddy stuff.
I was
But
gonna say, is there any truth to that? Did P. Diddy poison Michael J?
because so I heard here's a conspiracy, guys. Let me
Okay.
just go with this real quick. Just talking about Michael Jackson. The greatness of Michael Jackson destroyed him because he was so great. He ended up becoming this billionaire that was just buying publishing rights to everything. He's just owning the music industry pretty much. And it's like they say he started controlling too much of the industry as
no.
an entertainer, as a businessman, as everything, that people wanted him out of the industry altogether. So
Oh, that makes sense.
they started like destroying his reputation, destroying him as an entertainer, everything. But
That's interesting,
I don't know if that's a conspiracy, but I
That's a
think
good conspiracy lead.
possible, yeah.
yeah, but the guy was just an amazing. I mean, his voice, his attention to detail, but also like you got to think, you got to put Prince in there too, because the dude was amazing, genius musician. When you think about a genius musician, and that dude's probably one of the first to come to mind. So, but I all in all, my number one would definitely be Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Even
now,
though
now that you say that, I'm kind of glad I didn't become an NFL superstar because I feel like that would have been too much. I feel like people would have been trying to
You'd have
bring
been
me
an all-time entertainer.
down. Yeah, I think people would have tried to bring me down at that point.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure, dude.
All right.
Michael
Lizzo.
Jackson did have like a certain thing about him. Like you were always interested to see what the heck Michael Jackson was doing, right? Like,
Well, he legitimately was like, what's that crazy word that they use? He was like a tour de force, right? He really was like this being that just commanded attention for some reason, even as a kid. Like when you listen to him sing back before auto-tune and before
yeah,
studio corrections, like the kid was like a prodigy, right? So you think about as he grew up, some kids actually decline in their ability to to perform and to be as talented as they are. He actually got better. It was crazy. It was crazy. So he really was like a one of a kind guy. And hearing Vince talk about his crazy conspiracy theories, it does make a lot of sense, right? Because when people tend to feel like power slipping away from them, they'll do anything that they can to try and preserve it. So that's I hadn't heard that, which who knows if it's true or not, but it's very interesting to think about for sure.
Let me point
Mhm.
out a distinction in entertainment quality. There are the entertainers, Michael Jackson being one of them, who will fill and be in the moment, which is what makes him so entertaining. When you watch videos of him dancing or whatever, he's like, you just have to feel it. You just have to feel the music. So it's less to do with let's rehearse and let's choreograph and let's figure this out. While he did that, there was definitely that because he had to film, his videos and things like that. But then there's the entertainer that spends hours and hours prepping, studying, rehearsing, and they're well rehearsed and you appreciate that and it comes off flawless. So you've got like the person who can just feel it in the moment and be in the moment and be a little spontaneous. And then you've got the highly polished, rehearsed entertainer, both which can be amazing. So I just wanted to point that distinction out.
Yeah, he had both characteristics, right, wrapped up into one, which was awesome. When you think about the Super Bowl performance, it's like this iconic performance by him. You totally can see that he's feeling the audience,
The
right? Like
moment,
they
yeah.
they cheered for so long before his music even started. and he was totally going off of the audience's emotion at that time, right? Which made the moment that much more special for everybody that watched it live and even on television. I mean, it was amazing, and not everybody can do that. So that's a great distinction.
Yeah, and it was funny little fact, and I'm sure you guys have heard that when he was going towards the end of his performance, they're like telling him in his ear, he's like, dude, you got 30 seconds left. You have 30 seconds left. We need to get you off the stage. And he's just still standing there. Like the crowd's just going nuts. It's just, I mean, he just commanded like every stage that he was on.
Yeah.
Well, I just say that because I think they could both be equally wow, equally wow. I know instructors that don't rehearse, don't practice for their classes, and you're just like, man, they're throwing down right now. And then I'm more of the rehearsed, polished guy who people enjoy too, So anyway.
I enjoy you. I enjoy you.
Muchas gracias. Bo.
Bizzo.
All right, you guys didn't guess mine. So my guy is a musician, a comedy
what?
guy, a musician.
Oh, I thought you said a
Plays instruments.
musician.
I just said a magician.
And he's a magician, and he's
Really?
a comedy guy.
Oh, dang.
He's a stand-up guy. He's a good dancer. He's a good singer. He I don't know. You guys tell me.
Jamie
if it's
Foxx.
polished. Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
I thought about him. I actually did think about him.
Jim P. Diddy poison him too?
P. Diddy might have poisoned him. I'm not sure, but I don't know. He went through his little stint that he had last year, and then he's trying to make a comeback from all of that. But he hosts game shows. Like, I mean, this guy can do some stuff, man. This guy can rip it up. This guy's pretty successful.
It's a Marvin Gaye.
But yeah, my guy was
85% at everything, though.
What's that?
That's my opinion. I feel like he's like 85% good at everything.
85% good at everything.
I'll tell you what, man. Him as Wanda, was that his name? Or Shanae? Him as
Shanae.
Every time. Homie killed every
No,
time.
you don't think Jamie Foxx music was good, Joe? You think it's mid 85%?
It was good. I don't think it was great. I don't know. I always felt that way about him. Like he was trying too hard and because he did so much, and he was talented enough to do multiple things, but I don't think he was like the best at all of them.
Well, it's one of those things where I think had he started off in music, people would have viewed him differently.
Maybe
right?
that.
But because he started off as a comic, it was hard for him to be taken seriously as a musician. But I thought he was really good when he would jump up in the middle of his comedy set and start playing the piano and start singing.
Yeah.
Like, dude can sing, dude can play clearly. And that's what made it great. And when he infused his comedy into it, that was pretty unique because he was legitimately good at telling jokes and really good at singing.
And
right?
he was good at dancing. He could do the moonwalk and dance and he did the whole like skit about Michael Jackson and all that good stuff. Like, he's a good dancer. Like, I don't know, man. Jamie Foxx is mine, but I respect all those. Michael Jackson is definitely a one that kind of makes me lean towards that. But JF is my guy right there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, cool, fellas. It's been a good over hour and a half right now, chatting it up. Want to shout out anybody who is watching.
Viewers we got on.
We still have 8 people online watching.
Hey, 8 people. Woo,
We have a
woo.
bazillion.
Yeah, but hey, shout us out in the chat. The chat's live right now, but later you'll be able to comment underneath the video. So we certainly appreciate each and every one of you who listened, and we're just 4 lifelong friends who love to be together, to share our lives together. We want to leave, speaking of what LeBeau said earlier, a legacy on digital media, if you will, and leave this for even our kids to one day watch and learn about us and where they came from and all that fun stuff. So
to my great grandkids out there, don't offend as many groups as we offended today. I feel like we need to have like a little thing of credits going up. This says, we're sorry to such and such group.
Yeah.
We're sorry to such and
No,
such.
that's old school, man. That's old school. You know what? We offend people now. That's just the way it happens, bro. We're gonna be real. We're gonna be raw. We're gonna offend people. People are not gonna, be happy with us all the time. But it's all in love at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we love you. We want to see progress. It's gonna happen. It is what it is. We don't want to sugarcoat around things. We want to tell the truth. We want to be unfiltered and truthful. We want to be true to who we are at the
Yes.
end of the day.
But today it was all just jokes.
Yeah. Sorry, Carlos's great grandson, if you don't have that premier athletic ability.
No, I will tell you, my great grandkids are going to be premier NFL athletes, sucker. Don't be talking trash.
That's funny.
Talking
All
trash.
right, y'all. See you on the next one. Peace.
Like, subscribe.